Okay, now that we have the total top area of the tank wrapped with this portion, I'm going to go ahead and tuck in the bottom area in and around the back. So let's go ahead and flip it over, and we'll position it here. We can also scoop the padding to the edge now because we don't have any area that can be covered up with lint. So let's go ahead and peel back the material. It's got bunched up a little bit here, but that's fine. And I'm just going to peel so we can see the edge of the tank here. If we take a look, you can see that this is the area that we're going to wrap the material in back around to. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we have some flat area of the wrap. There's a couple places where it's wrinkled here. We'll just peel that away. Okay, now I have the Primer 94 and the Easy Dauber applicator. Like I said before, you could also have this in the can applicator where you'd use a brush. All you're going to do is you're going to give us a shake, and then you're just going to invert the dauber so it's facing down, and you're just going to press on some of the Primer 94 onto the area where the wrap is going to wrap around. Okay, now once you start applying the adhesive, by the way, these applicators are a little bit finicky, so you may have to puncture the end a little bit just to get it started a little bit. But you can be a little bit liberal with it. You don't want to be totally messy with it. Let's go ahead and just smear this around the edge where it's going to be making contact. So now that we have this Primer 94 applied, just go ahead and cap it, and that keeps it from drying out. And let's go ahead and get a little bit of paper towel, and there's some excess here where it's starting to drip a little bit. We're going to give it about 5 minutes to dry out. Okay, while we're allowing the Primer 94 to apply, we can remove some of this excess. We're actually going to trim away some of the large portions of the excess right now. We can use the scissors to do that. And leave a good amount on there, maybe like an inch or so. That's what's going to help us to wrap around the edge. But once we get it totally wrapped around the edge, then we'll come back with the X-Acto knife and we'll trim it up just a little bit more. Okay, now that we've given the Primer 94 time to dry, around 5 minutes or more, you'll notice that you almost can't see where the Primer 94 is. It's not necessarily tacky and it's not greasy, it's just kind of dried on there. And that's what we're looking for. So now we're ready to go ahead and wrap this around in order to give a nice clean edge to the wrap. So we'll go ahead and just start taking this over. And by the way, since a lot of times you're going to be pulling wrinkles and things like that, it's going to be good to go ahead and heat this as you go. And you can also just use your fingers for this. It's going to be easier just to work it in with your fingers. And as you're wrapping it, just make sure that it's tucked in really well. You can see right here that it's no wrinkles and it's wrapped in tight around the edge. Also, once you're wrapping this in with your fingers, in order to kind of glide across it and seal it in a little bit more, you can use the sleeve or a felt glove. And just actually press in this around the back side so you have a really nice airtight seal. This is going to help adhere the wrap into the edge. Okay, now I have it pressed all the way in around. You can see that it's all tucked in there. Go ahead and heat it all up one good time. This is going to help relax the material. It's going to help it to resist having a lot of stress of memory where it's trying to pull back out, and just kind of squeegee it down one good time again. Just go back over it, make sure it's firmly pressed in there. And at this point we can go ahead and take the X-Acto knife and we can start to trim away the edge. Now what I like to do is I like to take it maybe just over, maybe slightly over 1/4 inch away from the edge, and just drag along the edge there and just start to trim it out. You don't have to go too hard because these X-Acto knives are really, really sharp, so it doesn't take a lot of effort to cut all the way through it. Okay, so now we're going to just grab that extra area. Might have to kind of start catching it there to get it started, and just pull it away from it. Now when you're pulling this, try to pull, rather than pulling up, try to pull kind of back away from the cut, and that's going to help as you're pulling this away. If you didn't cut all the way through, it's not going to actually pull up the edge that you're wanting to lay down. It's just going to help pull away that extra vinyl. There may be some edge areas that you have to kind of trim up a little bit more. This one right here, you can see along this edge that some of it got caught a little bit. That's okay. Just trim it out. And once we have everything cut away, I like to squeegee it down just a little bit more again, just to make sure we have a really good edge around our vinyl. If you see areas where there's wrinkles and things like that, you may want to torch it a little bit again as well. Kind of help relax it and just help it stick.